All right, we're on. This is Earl Todd and my sister Patty Todd, his wife, and their daughter, who's going to the oven, Susan Todd. And we are in my home, John Martin Ramsey, Patty's brother, in St. Louis. And Earl is about to tell us an experience as he got out of college. Is that right, Earl?
Yes, it was my last year in college, and I had gone to a work camp in Minneapolis, sponsored by the American Friends Service Committee. And while there, one of the participants was a black man from southern Georgia, which I had befriended during the summer. And
what year would that have been?
1947. The summer of 1947. And I remember that particularly because it was the hottest day in Minneapolis in their history. And I happened to be there at that particular summer. Well, at the end of the summer, we were all making plans to go home, and the African American that I had befriended was going to take a bus to Georgia, and I said, well, let's travel together back to my home in Cincinnati, and then you can get a bus from there to Georgia. So he agreed, and we traveled together to my home in Springdale, Ohio, just north of Cincinnati. And he stayed all night with us, and the next day we both left by bus for his home in Georgia. Our traveling was uneventful until we reached Tennessee. And we always tried to get a front seat because we had a better view of the countryside as we were traveling. So we proceeded to get a front seat in all the buses that we rode on. We got on this bus in, I think it was Nashville. And the driver, before he would move the bus, he said, now you two fellows are going to have to separate. One of you is going to have to go to the back of the bus. And I won't say which one because I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Well, we said, we're traveling together and we like to sit together. And we couldn't think of any good reason why we shouldn't sit together where we were. So we did not separate, and we rode on until we got to Atlanta. And we got off in Atlanta, and I was going to go to Lithia Springs, where Patty lived. Patty's folks lived. And but my friend who
You said Dad had his office in Atlanta, and you were going to meet him at his office.
is that the way it was? I didn't remember that. But at least I was going to make connections there. So that was my first experience, and later I referred to that as an experience of one of the Freedom Riders,
Huh.
because we were violating a traditional seating pattern in the South.
Did you both move to the back, or did you
No,
say where you were? You stayed where you were, and he didn't make
separated.
and he didn't make an issue.
No, he didn't. He didn't. We were fortunate that he was a considerate person, I think, and probably realized that it was wrong.
He just wasn't going to
Wasn't going to make an
fuss.
issue. but,
Yeah, he didn't make it an issue, which we were fortunate
yeah.
that he didn't.
What was your friend's name?
You know, I've been trying to remember that,
Uh,
and it was Thomas was his last name. I can't remember what his first name was. But we did keep in touch several years after that, and then I lost track of him. But that was our first, that was my first experience with the segregation in the South.